Okay, the structure of this question is quite standard for a GCSE or an IGCSE paper. You're given a system of mathematical stuff and you've got this rather ominous looking request to show that some mess equals 0. Well, what it wants you to do is basically just take the information in the question and just do what you can with it using the information you've got. And crucially, you're given here that the area of the trapezium is 133. We have a formula, you should know it, but it's actually on the formula sheet for the area of a trapezium. So somehow this must equal 133. Okay, brilliant. Start writing it down. A and B, remember, are the parallel sides, top and bottom, if you will, and H is the perpendicular height, 2x minus 3. So half of the base plus the top times the perpendicular height is 133. I'll just start simplifying. This bracket here is, just replace my arrow how it was. We've got 4x there altogether, and we've got a minus 2 plus a 5, which is plus 3. So 4x plus 3 times 2x minus 3. And rather than writing half again at the front and 133 here, I'm just going to, in this step, double both sides of the equation to get 266 over here. Now I can expand the left-hand side, checking everything as you do it, double checking, not whizzing ahead until you're sure that what you've just written down is correct. I've run out of space there, so I'm just going to go all the way up there and keep simplifying. And finally, if I bring that 266 over to the other side as negative, we have the required quadratic equation. Okay, part B, find the value of x. All it wants you to do is to solve that equation. And remember, please remember, you can always do these, even if you couldn't do part A. So let's say something went wrong, you just had a bit of a brain fart and you just couldn't do part A. You can still get all of the marks for part B because they've given you the answer. So part B is just solve this. But we have managed to do it. So just solve the equation. Now I've done a separate video on how you can use your ClassWiz calculator to quickly work out the factorised version of a quadratic and write it down in a way that looks like you haven't used a ClassWiz at all. Really good way of convincing the examiner that you haven't used a calculator. And look, it does say show you working clearly, but we're going to use a calculator, but the examiner's not going to know about it. So here's the trick. You go on, I've done a separate video, so do search my videos for that one. I'll try and remember to put a link in the video underneath in the comments. You go onto the equation solving feature and you get your two answers for this quadratic, but you write them at the bottom down here. And we're going to work backwards, upwards. So taking this equation first, we're going to times both sides by 4 to get rid of the fraction. So 4x equals 25. I'm going to move the 25 to the other side. 4x take away 25 is 0. And that gives us one of the brackets in our factorised version of the equation. Now let's do it with the other one. So I'm going to times both sides of this by 2. 2x equals minus 11. Move the minus 11 to the other side to make it 2x plus 11 equals 0. And that gives us our other factor, 2x plus 11. And look, the examiner will look at that, and of course they're going to assume that you've taken this, you've factorised it by inspection, which is fine, get all the marks for that, and then you've gone on to solve each part of it equal to 0, and that gives you our two answers at the bottom. They've got no idea that you've done it in reverse. But don't leave your two answers like that, because clearly x can't be negative, because that would create negative lengths in the original problem. So you must write down, tell the examiner that you've acknowledged that, this one's not possible, actually write that. Don't just put an X or something, just write some words. It's okay to write words. And then acknowledge our correct answer here, 25/4.